வணக்கம் அன்பு நண்பர்களை, மீண்டும் உங்களை சந்திப்பதில் மிகுந்த மகிழ்ச்சி. இன்றைய நேர்காணல் நிகழ்ச்சி நம்முடைய திரு ராஜீவ் மல்ஹோத்ரா இருக்கிறார். பல ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னால் அவர் எழுதிய பிரேக்கிங் இந்தியா புத்தகம் இந்திய அளவில் வெளிநாடுகளிலும் கூட ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய அதிர்வலைகளை ஏற்படுத்தியது. அதன் பிறகு சமீபத்தில் அவர் எழுதியிருக்கக்கூடிய ஸ்னேக்ஸ் இன் கங்கா அப்படிங்கிற புத்தகம் இன்னும் பெரிய ஒரு அதிர்வலைகளை ஏற்படுத்தியிருக்கிறது. எப்படி இந்தியாவுக்கு எதிராக, இந்து மதத்துக்கு எதிராக ஒரு நெரேட்டிவ் உலகம் முழுக்க எப்படி அது செட் செய்யப்படுகிறது, அதை எப்படி உடைப்பது என்று பல ஆவணங்களோடு ஆதாரப்பூர்வமாக 500-600 பக்கங்களுக்கான மிகப்பெரிய ஒரு ஆய்வு கட்டுரையை புத்தகத்தை வெளியிட்டிருக்கிறாங்க. அதற்கான தேவை என்ன, அதற்கான காலம் என்ன, அதற்கான காரணம் என்ன, இந்தியாவுக்கும் இந்து மதத்துக்கும் அவ்வளோ பெரிய ஆபத்து இருக்கிறதா, இது போல நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இருக்குன்னா வாருங்கள் கேட்கலாம்.
Namaste.
What we heard about Harvard University is a prestigious education institution. People used to love to study there. But what we learned from your book, you are hitting hard on Harvard University that they have a motive, they are trying to break the Indian mythology and even India. Why you are targeting Harvard University?
So, first of all, Harvard is a very good university.
That's what we were told.
Yeah. So, for science, engineering, different technologies, medicine. So, for these courses called STEM, science, technology, engineering, it's one of the best in the world. Many Nobel Prizes, lot of technology. And so, Indians who go there, study these disciplines, bring it back, is good for the country. And Indians who want to sponsor this kind of research is good for the country. Now, we are talking about different part of Harvard. We are talking about social sciences. Social sciences where they teach about history, social justice, human rights, feminism, they talk about caste, they talk about problems of this kind. That is the area of Harvard we are talking about, not the rest of it. And this is not the majority of Harvard, but it is that part of Harvard which is focusing on the study of India, particularly. Now, Oxford was also a very great university. Is still a good university. But during the British, Oxford was the training center for teaching the British how to rule over India. Oxford was a center for distorting Indian history, for looking at how to exploit one caste against another, one king against another, one religion against another. This is the job of Harvard, of Oxford. So now Harvard is playing this role. And so the way we reached the conclusion, we looked at all the problems that are coming to India. There is all this Washington Post article when there is farmer protest. There is New York Times article when there is a 370 article 370 change. So like this, whenever India does something that is a bit controversial, then the foreign press write articles. Economist, BBC, Wall Street Journal, and all that. Plus the think tanks in America criticizing.
They all have Harvard root.
They have Harvard root. So this is why we decided to find out how the people who are at Harvard, who develop these theories, they are very influential. Harvard has got a very big brand name. It's the biggest brand in the world. And it is the biggest, richest university in the world. So it is like, think itself like the Vishwaguru. And they are educating the journalists. They have something called Nieman Center and Pulitzer Center. And they are training the journalists. Lot of the journalists, what they are training about India is very negative for India. They have many anthropology, social sciences. They are talking about social justice. So the kind of things that Harvard is teaching, developing as research within Harvard and talking about India is not good for India.
If you point some particular professors or HOD or anybody teaching staff, that could be understandable. But pointing the whole university as that the social science department, their whole area is doing the same thing, is it not coloring in the bad sense? How we can color a whole institution in that way?
So we are not coloring the whole institution, we are coloring the social sciences, part of the institution. And the social sciences follow a certain pattern of metaphysics and certain pattern of framework.
So is it happening only in a few last years, or it's happening for past so many years?
It has been happening for quite a long time. I mean, my foundation, Infinity Foundation, gave many grants to Harvard about 15-20 years ago to study Indology, which is the study of India. We appointed visiting professors at Harvard. So it is not like I don't know Harvard. I have given money to Harvard. I've gone there, given talks to Harvard. We've attended conferences at Harvard. So the general approach to India is not from the Indian point of view. It is from their point of view. And a lot of Indians are working there.
Obviously, the point of view differs, no?
Yes. So the point of view differs. So they have a right to their point of view. I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. This is their point of view.
Even in India, there is opposition for farm laws, and even for 370. Even in India, there was not only Muslims or not only farmers.
Yes.
A lot of the political arena, they were also blaming the government.
Yes.
So the different of opinion is nature.
Absolutely. So what they're saying may be accepted by, say, somebody in Bengal, maybe that way, or maybe Rahul Gandhi. Maybe they bring Rahul Gandhi, and he's a very big celebrity.
In Bengal, in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in Punjab, in Delhi.
Absolutely.
It happens in majority of the states.
Absolutely. As long as we are debating India, within India, it is not a problem for outsiders to come. But when there is a debate on India, and the people who are very strong in a foreign country, they are taking side, and they are taking one side against another side, and they are funding some people here, and they are teaching their idea, which is one way, against the rest of the country, and then they are influencing the US policy, US State Department, US Congress, US Senate. Policies on India are sometimes formulated at Harvard. So Harvard Kennedy School of Government is where they teach government, how to run the government, foreign policy, they teach that. It is the most prestigious school of government in the world. And our own IAS officers...
This is what an university has to do now.
No.
You have to educate.
I understand, but I'm saying our IAS officers also go there and study. So whatever is their ideology, they are entitled to it. I'm not saying that there is anything that they are not entitled to. But whatever is their ideology, they are teaching our IAS officers. Now, you don't have to send your IAS officers to another country to learn their ideology and come back.
If our institution is that much capable, we don't need to send. But if we are in a growing country and they are already well developed, so their education system is entirely different, so that we are sending that. It is not a...
But when you say develop, what do you mean by developed? Do you mean to say they know more about Indian history than we do, and they know more about Indian political thought than we do? Do you think they know more about Indian society than we do? I can see that they are more developed in science. I can see they're more developed in engineering, maybe medicine also. But you feel that they're more developed in the study of Indian history, Indian culture, that is the area we're concerned about. That they have put themselves as the world expert on Indian civilization, Indian culture, Indian role of women, the issue of Dalits and Brahmins, Indian issue of Muslims. So they are looking at these fault lines.
Do you see any government of India's role to curb this type of attempt? Is there anything left?
No, government of India is not doing anything to curb this attempt. They keep abusing the government of India. And this business of Harvard having a slant against Indian culture was also in the previous government. It is not only the Modi government. I was involved when it was Manmohan Singh government and Rahul Gandhi government and all that. And during that,
it is against India, not about Modi.
It is
not about Modi alone.
It is against India and against Hindu Dharma. And when Modi came, it became worse because Modi.
Do you think that any Indian government can do anything on this?
The Indian government can basically do several things about it. One is to copy what China does. China does an annual report on how China is being studied in the other countries. And India should do an annual report on who studies India, what they study, what is right, what is wrong, give a response. But India hasn't done that. I have proposed that we should do that once a year conference where we review the study of India at Harvard, at Oxford, here, all kind of places, at least give them a response that this is our view.
Instead of sending students, we can send faculties there.
We can, but they will not accept that faculty. They will only select their own faculty. We can send, but they will not accept.
You were talking about caste, the Brahmins and Dalits and all. Can we deny that most of the IITs having Brahmin or so-called upper caste faculties or deans or chairmen? Can we deny that?
Whether it is true or not is you have to do a census on IIT. Have you done a census? I haven't done a census. I was at IIT Madras yesterday and the faculty told me that there is no official census of caste structure of either faculty or students. There is some quota for OBCs and all that, but under the general quota, how many people come and what caste there is, nobody has done a census. So if nobody has done a census, even officially by IIT themselves, it's a matter of speculation. But suppose we assume that the majority of the people are of one caste, not the other caste, and therefore it's a problem. I agree with it. If that's a problem, then it's for the Indian government, Indian court, Indian laws to sort it out. Why would you want Gora man? Is it that you have inferiority complex? Is it that you, until the white man comes and tells you do this, don't do that, until they tell you that, you don't want to make a change? I think
The suppressed people always used to seek external supports also. They need support, whether it's from internal or external, that doesn't matter. They need support. That's it.
Yeah. So this is so lot of the Harvard initiatives on India are because some Indian people go there. And so this is also like in the British time, a lot of king would go to the British and say, help me with this other king. One king would get help from the East India Company to fight the other king, and this is how the East India Company took over the country. So it's not that somebody is wrong getting external support, but we have to look at what is the end game, what is the end process, what happens in the end when one community gets foreign support against another community. If you look at American intervention, whether it is Iraq, whether it is Afghanistan, whether it is Vietnam, whether it is wherever, it has never ended well for those country people. Even though it was to bring democracy, it was to bring democracy in Iraq, democracy in Afghanistan, but in the end it destroyed one community or another community, all of them fighting. So if Americans feel that they can solve India's problems, then I want you to tell me which country have they solved the problem so far.
Well, let us leave Harvard University and their influence. But can we deny that all these long years, hundreds of years, Dalit people were suppressed here? They were not given study, education. They were not able to get money or anything. What they deserve not given to them. Don't you feel like that?
There has been a lot of oppression and prejudice against Dalits, but it is not so one-sided that it was always like that. There is also a lot of Brahmins who are poor. I'm not a Brahmin, but the Brahmin poor also. And Brahmin in Orissa, Brahmin in Bihar, poor. Maybe Brahmin in Tamil Nadu, not so. But every state is different also. Also, the Dalits have had a Dalit dynasty, a Shudra dynasty they've had. Some of the history of these different castes is because of the colonial era. If you look at Dharampal wrote a lot of very important books during the British era.
Beautiful tree.
And he went to England to get all the data. And he showed that the percentage of people, before the British intervened and took over the education, the percentage of Dalits, who are the people of lower caste who were being educated, was very high.
Even Muslims, even women.
Even Muslim, even women. And when the British came, they started preferring this hierarchy of caste. So there is data like that. And some of the people who are called scheduled caste, scheduled tribe.
You don't see that there was a Varnasrama and there was a difference between all the four asramas. Brahmins are different and Kshatriyas, Vaidyas and Sudras. You don't agree for that?
So first of all, Varna is different from caste. Varna is different from Jati. Jati is different from caste. Varna did not have a hierarchy of one is better than the other. Within the Varna there is a hierarchy. Within the Brahmin there is a hierarchy. Within the Kshatriya there is a hierarchy. Within the Shudra there is a hierarchy. Within every Varna there is a hierarchy inside. So it is not that one Varna. So Brahmin cannot own capital. I'm talking about not today's Brahmin. They are violating the Brahmin. They are violating the ethics of Brahmin. That's different. But Brahmin cannot own money. And Brahmin cannot have political power. That is
as per the Shastras.
But if you want, either you evaluate as per Shastra or you evaluate as per today. So if you want to evaluate Brahmin, if you want to evaluate Varna as per Shastra, then you have to evaluate as per Shastra. There are strong injunctions, Brahmin cannot have money or political power. And Kshatriya, who has got political power, cannot be the Brahmin, and he cannot be a Vaishya having money. And the person who has money, he cannot have political power or be intellectual. So you see, today everybody is doing everything. So today's mix-up and degeneration of Varna into a chaos, into everybody, all kind of corruption, a corruption of Varna, cannot be the basis to decide and evaluate the theory of Varna as such.
But you might be agree that Sudras or so-called Panchamas or so-called scheduled caste today, they were completely suppressed for thousands of years.
No, I don't agree with that.
As a majority, you can see everywhere. Poverty is universal. It is not about Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya.
Yeah. But poverty is universal.
Yeah, yes. I agree. It is a universal. But you can see the percentage and ratio, not only with the population and also in education and all everything. So
wait. If you are making a historical statement, then I want.
I'm talking about now. Even from long way. I'm not talking about this year. It happens every other time, and it happens for a long time.
But you can't say thousands of years. I would like to see data. For thousands of years, I would like to see data. Whether the Shudras were more poor than others, I would like to see data, and I have not found data.
Not only about poverty, but also about the opportunity they were given.
No, but opportunity you have to decide. The Brahmin does not have opportunity to make money. He does not have opportunity to make money in the traditional sense. And he's got no opportunity to become a Kshatriya in the traditional sense. So you could also say that Brahmin has to just stick to what he does. So why do you say that a person who's a farmer, it's a very prosperous field, and who's the worker for textiles, metallurgical worker, these were very big industries. Metallurgy was like IT today, and metallurgy was done by scheduled caste in India. And textiles, India was the exporter of textiles, like America would be exporter of aerospace and IT. India was the exporter of metallurgy, textiles, agriculture, and these were the very, very rich industries in those times, controlled by people who are not Brahmins and not Kshatriyas. So the issue is, we cannot say that on the one hand we are saying that India was very rich at one time. That was before industrialization. Before industrialization it was rich because of agriculture and because of textiles, things like that. And so who was the rich people at that time? We have to do more research to find who were the rich people. They were not Brahmins. Brahmins were not doing these things, and they were not Kshatriyas doing these things. So either you have to deny that India was rich, which nobody says, because everybody, whether even the
India was so rich, it is a global phenomenon, it's an accepted one by everyone.
Until 1850, until the 1800s.
But where were the Dalits? Where were the scheduled castes? That was the question.
Yeah.
So when we first gave the reservation, do you think that there was no research, there was no data, there was no fact?
No. The reservation was given to solve the current problem. So you have to understand the difference between historical and present. So if today and for the last 100 years the problem has been there, it has to be solved. So reservations, I justify reservations. I feel that reservations are needed. I'm not against reservations. But I don't think you can say that this is a problem with the entire history of India. I don't say it be that way. If India had such a bad problem, then why would so many people want to come here? Why would everybody, Columbus came to found America, but he was looking for India. Why would Vasco da Gama come here? Why would one invader after another want to come here? They came here because it's a very rich place. And you cannot be rich place if 2% people who are Brahmins are making all the money. You cannot be rich place. You can only be rich place if the whole population is doing well. And so, only after the colonial era, we had mass famines. Lot of unemployment, a lot of exploitation. So these are what we are finding today is the result of recent centuries of exploitation. It is not original part of Indian civilization. So I don't have a problem if people want to change society today. We should change society. Dalits are our brothers. We should definitely help them. But I have a problem when a place like Harvard wants to pass judgment on the entire history of Indian civilization.
Do you see any particular person people are doing like this?
Yes. We have in my book we have named several people. We have named dozens of people, individuals. We've given quotations, what they are saying, what they are doing, and whatever they are doing, they can do it here.
Do we need to give that much importance to them? Are they that much influential? They can change, or else you are writing books and pages and pages, volumes and volumes on them.
We can be in denial. We can remain in denial and keep our eyes closed. The point is that they are controlling the discourse. They are controlling the discourse not only at Harvard, not only US foreign policy, but what is being taught in Kriya University in the south, what is being taught in Ashoka University in the north, what is being taught in Azim Premji, and all these kind of Tata Institute of Social Sciences, JNU. Lot of these professors get trained foreign countries. So they learn the social sciences. If you study sociology in any Indian university, there is not one Indian social thought being taught. Whether it is Brahmin or Dravidian social thought, what they're teaching is Western sociology. All these European sociologists, they're teaching their theories most of the time, a little bit Indian stuff thrown in.
And my question is also there, why you are bringing the industrialists also, Azim Premji, and now you mentioned Ratan Tata or Lakshmi Mittal. You name them also in the book.
I name them in the book because they are funding Harvard. So the question is, if they are funding Harvard, if they think they like that ideology, they should say it, and I have no problem.
You were also funding them?
I was funding, but I stopped funding them. I was funding because I thought that we could actually get honest. I funded them for many years, and then I argued with their output. They were not willing to listen. They don't want any contrarian point of view. When they have a conference in the Mittal Center or in one of these Mahindra Center at Harvard, they decide who to bring, and they have one point of view. They do not bring opposing voices. There is no debate allowed. Debate is among people of one ideology. They do not allow opposing points of view, which is not good for free thought. And a university, the reputation of Harvard, should bring people who have opposing points of view. So I did not like all this. I did not like the fraud that in the name of free thinking, actually they're not allowing free thinking. So I stopped funding.
So, do you think that people like Anand Mahindra and Godrej and Lakshmi Mittal, all these strong men are influenced and brainwashed by Harvard?
No, because we don't know what their motives are. Some of them are doing it because very prestigious. Some of them, maybe their kids will get admission. Some of them, maybe because they'll sit on a committee and it look very nice and proud. Some of them, maybe they get a business deal out of it. Some of them just do it out of ignorance because it's a fashionable thing. If I'm a billionaire, I've got everything going, everything in India I already own. So now I want to be on the global stage. I want to sit in the committee next to Bill Gates or something like that. Something, maybe it's an ego. Or maybe I like that the white man has to pat my back and say, oh, you are a good man, and then I feel very proud. So whatever is their complex, inferiority complex or whatever it is, it depends on each person. I don't know. I don't think it's the same reason for everybody. And we need to figure out, we need to ask them. Rather than passing judgment on them personally, in this book we are not criticizing them personally. We are saying, Mr. Mahindra, in your name you gave money to Harvard. Harvard appointed a committee to decide what to do, and they set up a Mahindra Center. And then they appointed a director. And that director is a well-known postmodernist and he doesn't like India. Okay, but you are 2-3 steps removed. Then that director appoints another committee who do a conference. And that conference invites this person, that person, that person to come and talk rubbish. So Mahindra is not talking rubbish. Mahindra is not talking rubbish, nor is he telling the man to talk rubbish. He just giving the money. And that money is used for a committee to do something else. And at the end of the day, some good things are said and some bad things are said. So he's not.
Through his move, we understand Anand Mahindra is a patriotic and a nationalist person.
Yeah.
He is encouraging Swachh Bharat and startups India. And he encourages even a small, tiny business people, any nook and corner of the country. So a person like this and allegation on him that.
No, it's not an allegation. It's not an allegation on him personally. We're saying his name, his family name and his money is being used for many things. He should be aware of it. When you have an auditor, when Ernst & Young goes or Deloitte or Pricewaterhouse goes and does audit of Mahindra's company and they find out there's some financial thing not correct, or in his factories maybe something is not correct, they're not accusing him. They're giving him information which is good for him to have. So we are giving information which is good for the Indian industrialists to have. They should know what Harvard is doing with their money, and then it is up to them to decide whether to change it or whether to let it continue. That is their choice.
Whether that audit report should be given to them personally or that should be published as a book?
It should be published as a book because it is a matter of public interest, and an audit of a public company is made public. The auditors, when they come and they do an audit of a Reliance, it is made to the public. If they find something is wrong, it is public information. And also, as far as private is concerned, I have met Mr. Mahindra, and I have met him before he gave all this money to Harvard. Many years ago, I was introduced to him by Mr. Gurumurthy personally, and I flew to Mumbai many years ago and met him. We had lunch. He was a very nice gentleman. I like him. He is a decent man. And he heard me, and I told him all the things that are going on based on my experience funding Harvard and why I stopped funding Harvard. I left him a copy of my presentation, and I kept in touch with him, and it is his choice what to do.
So only after that he started investing there.
And I've had 2 meetings with Mr. Piramal in the Piramal Towers, right on the top. A very nice man, very dignified person, good human being. I feel that way. And I've given him all this information. Now you see, if I spent 30 years of my life tracking this information and writing about it, all I can do is bring it to the attention of various people. I cannot change their mind. And if they go ahead and do it, then it's not my fault to go public with it. And all I'm doing publicly is saying these people are talking stuff that Indian people will not like. If you support it, you support it. I'm not saying there is anything illegal. You have a right to give money to a man in China to trash India. You have a right to do that. You have a right. You have a right to support somebody in Pakistan who opposes India's policy on Kashmir. You have a right. It's free thinking. There's nothing illegal if you give money to some Lahore University or Islamabad University and those people are doing conference on something anti-India regarding Kashmir. It's nothing illegal because you're giving the money. It's your money and you can give whoever you want to. All I'm telling you there is that some of this money, some of this reputation of the name and reputation while some of it is doing fine, good work, but some of it is being used in a way that people in India will not like. And you can say that maybe people of India are wrong. Maybe they're bad people. And maybe Harvard is good. That is your opinion and you're entitled to it.
Most of the people who felt that they were deprived, they were suppressed, they used to think that Buddhism is the right alternative, right from Dr. Ambedkar and many of the recent days of professors and lecturers. Do you find anything fault on that?
I am actually very fond of Buddhism. I'm a practicing Hindu, but a large part of my knowledge of Vedanta I got by studying Shaivism, by studying our own the Dharma Shastras, our own Vedanta, but also by studying Sri Aurobindo, but also studying Buddhism, because Buddhism gave me a lot of insights into my own tradition. I did not see a contradiction. Now I can see, I have done in this book, I have a 20-page section on Ambedkar. I have 20-page section on Ambedkar, where I describe Ambedkar's
and Buddhism and India, Hinduphobia and all this.
I his view on Hinduism, his view on Buddhism, his view on Marxism also I've talked about. So and his view on Islam and Christianity. Because you see, Ambedkar is a very complex person, a very sophisticated person, very deep person. You cannot just say he is for Buddhism, anti-Hindu, not like that. Today's Ambedkarites do not understand him properly or don't follow him properly. Because Ambedkar said very clearly, he does not want people to become Christians or Muslims because it will break up India. He's first and foremost unifying India. He says, if the Hindus don't give you dignity, you become a Buddhist, because Buddhism close to Hinduism and would not have the Varna caste in it. So that was his solution. So today's Ambedkarites, when they are going and aligning themselves with other minority religions, they are violating the very premise of Ambedkar.
My last question in this session, do you think that is it possible to break India, and is there a threat to breaking India?
Well, we know that external threats exist from China, Pakistan, and we also know that internal threats exist. Internal threats exist from some people in the northeast, some in the Maoist belt and south, various places. There are what is called subnationalism. This is a term coined in Harvard. Subnationalism means you go to a country and you find a community and you call them that you are separate from the rest of them. It is not only in India.
In Tamil Nadu also it is a Tamil Desiyam we used to call Tamil nationalist.
Tamil nationalism. So this term sub-nationalism is from the social sciences in the United States, brought here. And the sub-nationalism has been exported to many countries. China, of course, kicked them out. China said, none of your business, we do what we want to do. But sub-nationalism was also introduced into Russia, into Ukraine, and some of the same people I'm criticizing also were involved in trying to break up the government in Ukraine some years back. So this business of infiltrating and interfering in South America and various places has been going on. It is not only India. The problem I'm talking about happening in India is happening in many other countries also. But I focus on India because I'm an Indian. I want to bring this to the attention of Indian people. And the problem of this coming to India is particularly serious because there are a lot of English-speaking Indians who bring this knowledge inside, and there are a lot of Indians who are for sale. A lot of them are very happy that they get a first-class ticket to Harvard and they are looked after and they feel very proud. Parents are very proud. So I think the export from Harvard and other places like Harvard is universal, but India is especially vulnerable.
Do you seriously feel that there is a threat?
Yeah, there is definitely a threat. There is a threat because you ask the national security people. There is a threat. The national security people tell me there is a threat. One of the persons who launched the book in Delhi was a DIG of police, Prakash Singh. He said this is absolutely a serious matter, and he's been into it, following this for 30 years, getting worse. So you should listen to the September 26th book launch, which we did in Delhi. You should listen to the talks by those people there. And then another one which we are launching today, a video of our book launch in Vivekananda International Foundation in Delhi. Listen to the talk by Kanwal Sibal, Foreign Secretary. He says that throughout his career all over the world, he's noticed these things, but nobody explained to him the reason. Nobody put it all together. It's like we're connecting the dots. It's like the examples we are giving, people have noticed, but they have not put it all together like we did.
My last question again. Do you think that that Harvard theory is infiltrated into judiciary also, Indian judiciary also?
Yeah, because my co-author Vijaya put out a video also showing that Justice Chandrachud is basically quoting some of these Harvard guys. Rather than quoting our Shastra or our traditions, he's quoting that so-and-so said this, therefore we have a problem. So-and-so said this, therefore we have a problem. It's as if the Adhikari is Harvard now. As if the constitution is more
Is it not a quite common of any scholar to quote refer the other institutions? We used to refer everyone, not only you need not to restrict yourself with
that is correct, but he's a product of Harvard. His father was a Chief Justice, one of the longest serving. He's a product of Harvard. His children are product of Harvard and Stanford and so on. So when he says that this business of merit is false, because he quotes the Harvard guy to say that this business of merit is false because actually it is the privilege of your ancestry that you are getting and you're calling it merit. Well, if you apply it to Chandrachud himself, then you have to say that his merit on which he became Chief Justice of India, is it because of his ancestry, because he enjoys the privilege he got from Harvard and from his parents? You have to ask these questions. So if they are allowed to ask questions and challenge us in a free society, we can also ask these questions. So what is wrong if the discourse set by Harvard is very big and powerful and the media talks about it and our universities talk about it and our Chief Justice talks about it? What is wrong if we also exercise our freedom and talk about what we think about them? So all we are doing is talking back. It's called Jawab Dena. You talk to me, I talk you back to you.
Just reactions.
No, it's a dialogue. It's a discourse. You are describing me.
Newton's theory.
You are describing my family, my background, my history, and you are okay. You are entitled to it. I am not stopping you. I am not saying that you should be silenced. I have never said Harvard should be censored. Never said that. I am saying we also want to give them a response, and we are inviting them to a debate. We are inviting, we can have a debate on their campus, we can have a debate here, we can have a debate on your show. If you want, I will be happy to have a debate on your show. With all these people that we are criticizing, we can come here and let the public decide. Let the public decide listening to both sides. So we are not against their right to criticize us. We are not. But we have the same right to criticize them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malhotra. Thank you very much for your time and thought.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.